What's up, y'all? Welcome to Carolina Takedown Talk, episode number 30. I am Ryan Mitchell, and I'm joined by Rhett Hoy. We are a North Carolina wrestling podcast that is presented to you by Carolina's Mat News.
We are also brought to you by our newest sponsor, Chain Wrestling. Y'all go check out chainwrestling.co. Go to Partners, click Carolina Takedown Talk, and see the newest team store of all of our gear. All right, we've got hats, shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, socks, you name it, we got it. We are super excited to be working with the Chain. They're created by athletes, for athletes, cultivated for the uncommon, apparel for the everyday grind. Head over to chainwrestling.co right now and use the code CarolinaState22 to get 15% off all merchandise on the website. All right, like we said, we are super excited to be working with Chain Wrestling. Go check them out. While y'all are here, hit the subscribe button for us. All right, go ahead and hit that button. Click the bell. That's going to turn on notifications. Every time we post a video, you guys are going to be the first ones to know. All right, y'all are not going to want to miss the content we have coming for you this week, and you're definitely not going to want to miss all the videos that we're going to bring to you from Greensboro in the Coliseum during the state tournament starting Thursday. We're going to bring you round by round coverage, updates, recaps, previews, you name it, we're bringing it, bringing the heat. It is championship season. We cannot wait. We are fired up.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And it's 2A time. So 2A, let's start with our regional recap, right? We got to talk about what happened over the weekend. So out east, I think the big story is Raheem Jones,
the man,
Pitt.
the monster.
He continues his role,
yes.
Looks phenomenal and dominant. And I think that's the major story.
Some of my favorite content from over the weekend was North Pitt Wrestling, right?
Coach
does an awesome job.
Coach Young does a great job with
does a great job with social media, with posting and promoting his athletes. We love it, right? But Raheem came right off the mat, right off the semis, had just qualified, came off, and Coach looks at him and goes, is recording the interview and says, what's your goal? Qualify for the state tournament. He was so locked in on reaching that first goal. Talk about a kid that's been a favorite all year, right? We've all been watching him all year saying, at least us, we've been watching Raheem saying, look, this is the guy at this weight. This is the guy. Okay? We'll talk about taking it match by match. Was so locked in, his first answer is qualify for the state tournament. That's my goal. That's what I'm here to do, is qualify for the state tournament. Coach last time goes, you already qualified. What's your next goal? He goes, state champ.
Yeah, he's
state
ready.
champ. I want to be a state champ. That's it.
He's ready.
Championship mindset. I love it. We're in championship season. Let's bump out to the Mideast. Bun has been a big storyline all year in 2A. Reached the state finals out of the East. They qualify with 6, but Webb wins the team race. Big weekend by Webb there.
Yes, huge weekend for Webb to unseat Bun, right?
Yes.
And win that team race.
But congrats to Bun, record-setting 6 state qualifiers heading to Greensboro. Head out to the Midwest.
Yeah, so at the Midwest, the bracket was the one that I was dialed into the most, was 113. You had May from Trinity. He beat Almond from Mount Pleasant, who was a state placer last year at 106, big part of their team title hopes. He beats him at 113 in the finals, right? And then R.J. James with a big win over Pazzo from Forbush in the finals. And then probably the biggest final of them all in that bracket, in that tournament, was Holland over McEachern.
Yes.
Holland, a state champ last year at 113. McEachern, freshman state runner-up for Mount Pleasant last year at 120. They meet here at 126, and Holland comes out on top.
Right.
And we'll talk about their bracket in a little bit. And then the Price brothers be good.
They just be good.
They just be good. They're beating fools up, and they lead
Yep.
Surrey Central to a tournament team title here. So
wow,
huge. And then all the way to the west, where Rhett's Bandies row the boat crew wins the West. He's excited about that. Bodie Kirkland comes through, wins 120, establishes himself as he is the title favorite going into this weekend. It might be a slight favorite. But he is the favorite. And then Deaton from Lincolnton wins 126 over Levix and Norman. Beats
I'm
both
telling
those
you,
guys.
I've been saying it all year. Lincolnton is a team to watch.
Yes.
Especially these next few years. Mac George.
Yeah.
Right?
North Carolina legend.
North Carolina legend.
Mac
Absolute
George.
monster. We were coming up the same time. I think he was a year behind me. But complete stud. Takes over that program and has been making jumps.
Yes.
Leaps and bounds with that team. In one of the toughest conferences, probably it is no doubt the toughest conference in 2A. And this year, the toughest region, I would say,
Yes.
coming out of 2A. But still making a lot of progress, doing big things out there. Shout out to you, Mac, big supporter for us. And, another one coming out of Bandy's, Caleb Moore, absolutely on fire.
Yeah, man.
I
I always
keep
look
on
for
scrapping.
who are these kids that are coming to the state tournament who are just on fire. And I feel like Caleb's been on fire ever since the
Yes.
state tournament last year.
Yep.
And he has just continued to look phenomenal, very dominant in the regionals
Yeah.
this past weekend, heading into the state tournament.
So I say we row this boat on into 106.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Nice transition there. I like it. All right, so let's work at the top and our way down. The Southwest Onslow's Carter Duhan is at the top of the bracket. He is 25-4 on the season as a junior here. And then in his quad, he has Caden Shoot from Burns and Xavier Jenkins from South Granville and Braden Hall from Trinity. Good little quad there. But the man that I've been watching all year long since the state tournament last year when he had a tough quarter, didn't place, is Jared Thomas from Moorhead, right? Moorhead, one of the more historic programs in our state, hasn't had the years in probably the past 5 years that you would expect from them. But man, this kid Jared Thomas is good. This kid's good, and I kind of think he's the title favorite at this weight coming into the weekend. So he finds himself there. Andy Sane from West Lincoln is a solid wrestler as well. And then Trayvon, I'm probably saying this wrong. Coach Young, correct me at the state tournament, but Heath from North Pitt, he comes in as a 9th grader. Impressive to get out of the East there as a 9th grader. And so, but he does draw Jared Thomas right out the gate. So the bottom half of the bracket is a little more wide open, in my opinion. Really dialed in. You have from Cummings, Manhong. I'm sorry, man. From the Mid-East champ, but the bottom quad is where I'm really dialed into.
Right.
And then you got Lawson Vang from Bunker Hill, who won the West. Really tough little West bracket, won that one. And Xavier Salazar, who was the Midwest runner-up to Jared Thomas. And Salazar has been really good all year long.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good potential quarter. And then shout out to Gomez from Manio. Talia Gomez is now a 2-time state qualifier out of Manio just a sophomore. So qualified last year at 1A 106 and again here at 2A 106. So awesome job for her as she kind of adds her name to the list of ladies who are 2-time qualifiers in the men's bracket. So that's pretty awesome. I think that we really could see a fireworks if we get a potential matchup between Duhan and Thomas. Like I said, I think Thomas is kind of the favorite heading into the weekend.
Right.
Stepping up to 113, we got a massive beat Regan Riddick, so he's no stranger to beating regional champs there in the quarters. Man, that's a good one. That one's, and it's big for Newton Conover team race wise too, and Mount Pleasant. I don't know if Mount Pleasant has the horses this year with just 4 in the tournament to win a team title.
We said the same thing last year.
We did. They had a couple more bullets in the chamber. Four makes it tough. 4 makes it really tough.
Against Bandy's,
Yes.
Newton Conover,
Over.
West Lincoln,
Yes.
Lincolnton.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Bun.
just bunt. Yeah, definitely bun.
Right. Like just only having 4.
Webb apparently now. So
Yeah. And despite the fact that all 4 of their guys are gonna do really, really well, it's just that's gonna be a tough sell to bring it all the way home. But that's a huge quarter.
get hurt. I don't want to say hurt, but
You're gonna get tired.
Yeah, you're gonna get tired. They're gonna push the pace. They're gonna beat your face into it. I mean, it's just they're hammers.
Yeah.
They all wrestle really tough, and so
It's very technical. Like they have. Anybody to win. Stepping up to 120. So right at the top, Bodie Kirkland. Freshman sensation Bodie Kirkland, right? He really came to the party from the very beginning of the year and continued to do so at Holy Angels with a big win over RJ James, who is a potential semis opponent for him. That was one of the first things that I texted Rhett, actually, when I saw the brackets that came out. I said, Bodie Kirkland, RJ James on the same side, and I think I even put like the little straight face not happy emoji.
No,
I was not stoked. I was not stoked about that.
That is a state finals caliber matchup right there.
I always hate it when we get the semis or the finals and the semis potentially. You know, like there's some really good kids in this bracket too, but I just think that's a matchup we should probably have in the finals, kind of like a Joe D'Angelo, T.D. Thurston one back in the day, or Jake D'Angelo, Gustafson back in the day as well. So that's, man, I wish we could have those two separated. But again, this is the most fair way. It's not like they were like, let's put those two guys on the same side. It's not like they seeded it that way. That's just the way the bracket formula worked for this year. But RJ James last year was a state runner-up as a freshman. Him and Kirkland had a pretty tight one in the Holy Angels. I think it was the quarters, right? Quarters or semis? I can't remember. Quarters. It was the quarters.
Yeah.
And then RJ James actually outplaced Kirkland on the backside. That's what it was. So really good there. We definitely have some people that could bust that up, but I feel like they're kind of maybe on a collision course a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the bottom of the bracket. Speaking of Coach Young, and our boys from North Pitt, you got Hayden Manning, just a sophomore, winning the regional title out east, but he draws a potential quarter that could be tough.
Yeah.
Cole Waddell from West Oaks, very good. Very good. He gave RJ James a decent match in the regionals this past weekend. And then Camden Spencer is someone you and I have talked about all year long, whether it was on air or off year, about how impressive he is how hard he wrestles. He's tough in matches. Now he's dropped a bunch of matches so far to Kirkland this year,
Right.
but that's not a bad thing. So either one, that's a good first round match. But that's the best first round match we've seen so far
Right.
in the bracket. And the winner gets probably Manning. I don't know. We'll see. And
How it shakes out.
That's a tough little quad. Speaking of good first round matches, though, at the very bottom, you have Edwin Pazzo from Fort Bush versus Raul Hernandez from Bunker Hill. Both
Banger of a first round matchup.
both
right
seniors, very, very
there.
good.
Awesome first round matchup.
Yeah, they
Probably the best. I mean, I would say the best one.
Yeah,
we've seen.
I would have taken that one over the Waddell Spencer one that we
Yeah.
just mentioned. So best first round matchup we've seen so far. Best one in this bracket. So at 126, at the top, we have Isaac Campbell from Washington, which is someone who we mentioned in our episode 27, which was our state dual one, that he
Yep.
was kind of important for Washington and their dual hopes. He's the East Regional champ, so he sits on top of the bracket. He has Evan Ray from South Granville, J.J. Patterson from Shelby, and Creed Osborne from West Stanley is kind of his little quad there. But on his side of the bracket, man, Tyler Holland, defending state champ. It's just
Monster.
kind of awaiting down in that bottom part. 34-0. Really, this kid's so good on top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to say anything that anybody doesn't know, but I wouldn't go underneath. Personally. I would not have my athletes pick bottom.
Right.
But Chade Norman from West Lincoln is someone who's been really good all year. West Lincoln always comes at this end of the year.
Another one of those teams
Yep.
that just peaks at the right time, is always ready to scrap at the state tournament. Every round,
Yep.
every match, they're going to be ready to go.
Then at the bottom part, you got Scotty Spencer, who is probably my favorite kid on the Bun team from the state duels. Just the way he was supporting his teammates.
Yeah.
You could tell the leadership was there. Had a big win already over Levix then.
Mm-hmm.
So he is in a good position here, even with Revis and Helms in that quad with him.
Levix isn't a good first round match to have, though.
No, I know, but Spencer controlled that one in the state duels.
Right, he
but
did.
Still not a great. If you were trying to pick,
It's another one,
yeah.
kind of like the Brady Ross.
Yeah.
It's like, look, we might know where this is going to go, but if you look down this list here, if you look at the four seeds, Levix isn't the one you point to and go, I want that one first.
Yeah,
Like
definitely not.
he's not,
Agreed. I would agree with that.
And just in that Bandy's room, preparing for this state tournament,
Yeah.
we might see a different outcome there.
Now,
Levix is a kid that's impressed me this year.
in the bottom, so we're talking about Deaton winning the West Regional title, and for his prize, he gets state runner-up David McEachran
Yeah.
in his quarter. Definitely not. You win your regional title, not hoping for someone like that to be in your quad,
Yeah.
right? So that sets up a really good little bracket. It's gonna be fire, honestly. This is my favorite bracket of 2As right so far, just with those guys in there. At 132, we got another Bandies guy. We're going to continue to talk about Bandies. They qualified a bunch.
Yeah.
So we got Bryson Burkett, who was the Sportsmanship Award winner, I'm pretty sure, from Bandies. And then he went out immediately and got a huge fall. He was the one that went out and wrestled right away and got the fall to get that crowd riled up. Exploded. Oh man,
Some of my favorite clips
The
that we
tension
have.
level in that building before that started, before Bandy's Bun, and
It's electric.
over on the other side we had Laney and Northwest Guilford, excuse me, and you could just feel the energy level and the tension. And before they blew the whistle, it was like it was wild. Honestly, it was wild. But so Bryson Burkett, though, regional champ. Got Landon Neal from West Stokes, Nate Carr from North Carolina Science and Mathematics School, and the quad there, and Demarius Langley from Washington. And then on the bottom part, you have Walker Bell, who has been to the state tournament twice already, and this is his third trip as a junior. And then Luke White and Kristen Still and Brian Butavog. So, honestly, I think Burkett might be on a collision course, but who knows? This is another way. It's like, we'll see. Anybody could come out of this. I wouldn't be shocked to see any of them make the semis. I mean, I think Bell and Burkett are probably your top bets, but any one of those kids could probably find their way
Could
there.
punch through.
Yeah, just depending on who has the best run. Now, on the bottom half, though, is someone we haven't talked a lot about this year, but I have always seen this kid in results everywhere.
Yeah.
Since the start of our podcast, since the start of me writing for Jason Fulmore and Frank and everybody, is Connor Goodman. Now, he's wrestled up at 45 a little bit this year, down 38, 32 now. He's from J.M. Robinson. Really impressive year, obviously 50-5, which is crazy. So 50-5 from J.M. Robinson. I think he might be the favorite this weekend.
Right.
Just based on...
He's got a pretty good freshman on his side.
Yes,
I do think that he is still the favorite.
Yes.
But solid freshman. Down at the bottom, Caleb Cox from that RS Central program we talked about that we love.
Yeah, coach's son here.
Yep. Should be. I mean, I think that they should be on a path to each other there. I think to the semis.
I know Corey Fazak. I know I'm gonna mess his name up, but Corey Fazakis from Northeastern. I know that family, and they train really hard with the Pass with Tank Wrestling Club with Coach Sutton and Coach Kane doing a good job at Northeastern. That's a fun little match. I think Cox is probably like a tier above.
Yeah.
But I think him and Goodman can find each other in the semis. Yes. Definitely Caleb Cox, one of my favorite freshmen in the state right now. At 138, though, at the top of the bracket, we have John David Curtis, who came out of the West, and he's got a potential quarter with Shane Hatfield, who's someone we talked about at our regional preview episode as a returning state qualifier, state placer at this weight where there wasn't many other guys on that same tier.
Right.
He ends up being the East runner-up, finding himself there. But there's one guy at that top half of the bracket that we've talked about a lot this year, David Makupson, Trinity. He's been nothing but great all year long, and no reason why that should change now, right? So see him as a pretty heavy favorite on this side of the bracket.
I think he's the favorite in the whole weight, really. I haven't seen a lot from Gerald Johnson. Freshman winning it out of the East there.
Yeah, very impressive from West Craven.
Yes, definitely. But, one guy that we know here pretty local to us is Walker Maines coming out of Hendersonville.
Yeah.
Hendersonville punching through one. Yep.
Bearcat, Hendersonville alum there.
And so, but at the same time, you got Will Nix sitting here second from the West out of Bandy's Row the Boat.
I really feel like, to be quite honest, this is a bracket where the West could blow it up.
Yes.
Like the West is really strong at this weight.
Yeah.
Just particularly, I could see them really making a run to having 3 in the semis, 4 in the semis type deal.
I think so.
So then at 145, we have a guy that I really want to talk about in the top half of the bracket. First, we'll start at the top here, though, is you have Sisbach from Southwest Onslow as the regional champ out of the East. I feel like that quad's pretty wide open, despite the fact that, you have a 1 versus 4. But there's a sophomore that has a pretty good wrestling pedigree. He's been really having an awesome year so far. Jacob Price. Yes, Jared Maslow brother Jacob. He has been tearing people up all year long. And then he has, though, Alex Bendecourt from Bunker Hill, who's had a great year. So I think that's a really fun potential quarter. I think might be the best quarter of this bracket, or the best quarter even of the first couple brackets that we've seen, or the middle weights.
Yeah.
Jacob Price, though, looked sophomore, looking really good. Price brothers have a chance here to go back to back. In the bottom half of the bracket, you have Wallace Bowser in the Mid-East, and John Percival from Manio is the East second there. So we could see that as a potential quarter. In the bottom, Caleb Johnson-White from East Burke, who is the West Regional champ, with a senior from Moorhead, Aiden White, as a potential quarter, or West Craven's Brady Stevenson out of the East third as a potential quarter as well. To me, the bottom half of the bracket is just pick a kid and let's see what happens. I don't know. I mean,
that one.
I think Johnson White kind of has been the best kid out of that group this year, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple different combinations make the finals.
Right. I mean, this one is a toss them in a bag, shake it up, and
I think Johnson White, Bentacore, and Price are definitely the best three.
Right.
So at the top, this is a kid that we saw at 152 at the top. The kid we saw at the conference tournament, and we were super impressed by. That's Dylan Patton out of Patton.
Yes.
And he's at the top of the bracket.
I think he goes by Bubba, maybe.
I think he does go by
that was
Bubba.
his nickname.
His potential quarters is pretty tough against Moorhead's Biggs, who was the Midwest runner-up. But just based on what I saw, I think Patton looking pretty good
was
there.
Really, I mean, a guy that kind of flies under the radar, or has flown under the radar for us until we saw him at his conference tournament, but was super impressive.
Yeah. And so Jeremiah Jones at Southwest Onslow, we're talking about a lot of Southwest Onslow regional champs. They qualified 9. So, or I think it was 9. They have a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of bullets in the chamber, as we like to say, to be able to make a team run. They just got to capitalize on these. They cannot have these regional champs not place.
Yeah.
Right? If they're going to have any player, they've
got to punch.
They got to punch these kids to the semis. Yeah. Right? And so they have him there. He could be challenged by Casey Hone from Trinity in that quarter, or even Jason Brawley from Newton Conover is a very terrible draw for him as a I think that's the theme so far this year for me has been how tough these 4 seeds are, right? How tough these 4 seeds are. So, and then at the bottom half of the bracket, you have the man, Jeremiah
the one
Price.
That all this conversation kind of goes.
Right to him.
It's Price next topic, right? I think it's Price and Patton are on a collision course, and it's just tough that.
I mean, we saw the
Patton's Patton was really impressive and is super tough, but just the way that Jeremiah Price absolutely manhandles people, absolutely dominates.
Think about the way he beat Drew Pepin and Zach Courageous this year.
Yeah.
And he placed at a college open.
Right. And seeing him at the Tiger, which y'all can actually go watch.
We've talked a lot about how improved Damon Landreth this year and some other kids.
Jeremiah Price has jumped to the highest level.
Price might be one of the best and most improved kids in the state, too. From the time I saw him at the state tournament to the time I saw him at the Tiger, the progression he made, big. Yeah. He's big jumps right now.
I really think so. I think he's one of our best kids in the state. I mean, heading to NC State, one of the top teams, not only the state, but top 10 team in the nation. I think top 5 for most of the year.
Yep.
So, excited that he'll be staying in state, but junior here, I think he's the favorite to dominate this bracket.
So, looking at 160, the guy you already talked about, Caleb Moore. Bandy's been on fire.
Yep.
Since the state tournament last year, just been on fire. Looking to continue that. His quad looks very favorable for him. But on the bottom side, Julius Miller from Reedsville. Now, Reedsville is a school that I talked a lot about in the beginning of the year. Haven't talked as much about him recently.
Yeah.
But Julius Miller is definitely one of the kids that could be a bracket buster. Maybe pull an upset that we aren't expecting. Right? He could be the kid that maybe beats Caleb Moore. I don't know. We'll see.
Caleb Moore's
been on
pretty
fire.
good, man.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's got his number
what
right
I'm
now.
saying is,
I don't know.
Don't look past Julius Miller. And
Definitely.
Julius Miller, please don't look past Patrick Goins from West Lincoln. Another not great 4 seed. You don't want to see West Lincoln, Newton Conover kids in those spots.
Right.
On the bottom half, you have from the Outer Banks, from the 252, Dylan Pilati from Manio, winning the East region as a junior. really impressive year so far. He looks to try to make the semis over Josh White from Lincoln and Micaiah Harris from Moorhead. Two really tough draws for a quad there. And then on the bottom, a banger of a first-round match between Carson Krause of Surrey Central and Braden Guest from Bunker Hill. Now, if Surrey Central wants to kind of make a push for a team title,
they need Krause.
They need Krause. They need Krause.
Yes.
They need Krause and Salazar.
Yes.
In particular, I think. I think
the prices are going to get it done.
The prices are going to
do their
big
job.
Points.
Yes.
So that you got two big points scorers going to give you a lot of points of cushion. If you can bring some more to the party from that, I think if they're going to have a chance to catch the Bandy's train, right? Or one of the other teams, that's where they need to do it.
Yeah.
At 170, there's a pretty clear favorite in my mind. He is at the top of the bracket, but not the very top. At the very top, you have Jason Rodriguez Jr. from Southwest Onslow. We're talking about Southwest Onslow regional champs over and over again. But, man, he's got a tough one in Ian Moore Bandies.
Yeah.
Man, and there was the Ian Moore Hines Newton Conover Concy semi match. Heard it got pretty rowdy between the crowds, between each other. But Ian Moore came through. If you're Rodriguez Jr. and you're Southwest Onslow, that's a match you gotta have.
Yeah.
If Southwest Onslow wants to win the team title, that's
you
the
have
one,
to have that one,
right? And so Ian Moore has looked great all year, just a sophomore. And then the favorite though is Kyler Pickard.
Yeah, no doubt.
Kyler Pickard, big wins this year, right? He's beaten so many good guys. Mount Pleasant.
He's the guy.
He's the guy right now at this weight. I mean, he's beaten Aiden Curry. He beat Gavin Hartzell. He beat somebody else too, really good in the very beginning of the year. Looked super impressive last year in the state finals, even at a loss. So he's the favorite, right? And then the bottom half, you have a little bit more of wide open, right? You almost thought you would see Rodriguez Jr. more as coming out of the East as the champ, but that didn't happen. So down we have Bartlett Yancey's Mid-East champ, Jacoby Castleman, and he has first round Dante Davis from Bunker Hill. Bartlett Yancey, man, what a story from them. Coming from the 11th seed in the state dual tournament.
Right.
Definitely not a team I would have picked. Even giving up weights. They made the Eastern finals there. But Richard Post from RS Central. We talked about RS Central and how they wrestle and how tough they are and the things that Coach Cox gets his kids to do and how technically sound they are. So he comes out of the West and puts himself in a really good spot to make the semis here. I really think he's got a really good position with his quad. Another Surrey Central kid with Spencer LeClaire in there. So LeClaire is going to be one that is, again, him and Krause and Salazar, probably the key cogs for Surrey Central, right? They know what's going to happen with their Price brothers, but these guys are going to have to really bring in the extra points. At 182, we already talked about him at the top of the thing, is Raheem Jones, and he is in the top end of the bracket, but he has another regional champ with Raiden Brooks from Bandy's. Just a sophomore. These two seem to be kind of eyeing each other on a collision course as far as looking into semis. I could see Gavin Hardister from Trinity really giving Raheem Jones fits, though.
Yes.
Right, Trinity as a team, really, very good. And Brooks has been really impressive so far this year. You were talking big about him after the Newton Conover and Bandy's duel. Man, that one is one where you could look at and be like, if Brooks and Jones meet in the semis, we could look back and say, oh, that
was the state final.
That could have been a final, because the bottom half.
I think that's the case here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they're the two front runners. I think they're the two horses here. I mean, they're both studs, and
Yes.
that's just kind of what it is. It's another one of those. It's like, man, I really wish that we could put, These
The
guys
bottom
separate them just a little bit.
The bottom half of the bracket is pretty wide open. Eli Becker, though, is 24-0 on the year after being a Midwest regional champ. So maybe we're sleeping a little too much on Becker. Haven't seen him as much this year. He could have a potential quarterfinals against Alex Ashley of Hendersonville, who was the West runner-up, or Logan Davis of Manio, who is the East third. That's a good little fun first-round match there. And then on the bottom, Braxton Young from West Lincoln and Southwest Onslow's Whitehead. It's a big match for the team race. I think the biggest thing for me I'm looking for 2A is not necessarily the individual matchups. Yeah, the individual matchups are great, but that might not be the thing I'm dialing into the most. I'm looking for what matches are really going to be implications towards the team race. The team race is going to be so much fun between Bandy's, Newton Conover, West Lincoln, Bunn, Southwest Onslow, Surrey Central, Trinity.
Yep.
Right. There's a bunch of teams that could come walking away with this team title. At 195, speaking of Newton Conover, it's Owen Clark at the top of the bracket, and he's, after only one loss last year, is the state title favorite this year at the top of the bracket. Man, he's looked really good all year. Really is able to slow people down, wrestle his ties, wrestle his pace. Really hard to score on. Very good on top.
Yeah. He knows what he's good at, and he stays there.
Yes.
Right? He doesn't put himself in weird positions. He doesn't let other people control the match. He wrestles his match, goes into positions that he wants to be in.
Yes.
And dominates.
I agree.
Wrestles really well. Doesn't win a lot of,
He's not going to blow people out.
10-0 matches.
Yeah.
Doesn't tech people. Really doesn't major a lot of people. He wins those 4-1 matches, those 5-2 matches, whatever. Gets a takedown, is really tough on top. He gets those, gets the turns.
Like you said, he knows where he's good. He's not going to go out of that box, and been very impressive this year.
Right.
And then he could be challenged in that bottom half by Zach Solis from Southwest Onslow, or Luke Hurley from Forbush, who was the Midwest regional champ. Could see those guys emerging there. In the bottom half of the bracket, I really think that we could see a rematch in the state finals between Clark and Evans. Evans from Bandy's a super sophomore. So. Another one of those key clogs for the Bandy's crew to row the boat again at the state tournament here. But you also have Barron Ely, who was the first place winner out of the East. So that's a potential, probably the best quarter matchup of this bracket. And then in the very bottom, you have the Mideast champ from North Carolina School of Science and Math, William McMahon, and James Kyleway from Madison as a potential quarter. And then Enoch Lopez from Surrey Central, another Surrey Central kid. They have 3 or 4 in a row here that really could make a difference for them. They're in the team race, right? They're in the team race.
They're right there.
And then 220 has got some fun matchups. We also, probably the most underrated, if he wins this, 3-time champ we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Kind of flies on the radar, doesn't get a whole lot of talk outside. I think we talk about him a good bit, but outside of us. But at the top, you have Jonathan Richardson from Washington, East champ. You also have Gabriel Soto from Bunn. He was really impressive at the state dual finals as far as just worked really hard. I saw a lot of potential in him, but look at that first round matchup there.
Yep.
Joseph Tutty from Newton Conover. He could bust this up and make the semis.
Yes.
He really could. We could see Tutty in the semis here.
I think so.
Newton Conover, known for that kind of stuff too. Just bringing really tough kids to the state tournament, blowing brackets up. But this is the man I was alluding to, Chase Creighton. 2-time champ.
Monster.
Comes in looking for his 3rd title. Really, I think a heavy favorite coming into the weekend, honestly.
Yeah.
He beat Brian Gordon from West Stokes in the regional finals, which was Gordon's only loss. which we can move to the bottom. We see all the way to the bottom. Alex Kearns from Madison, who was the regional champ of the West, and then you got Brian Gordon there. Wes Stokes is a potential quarter. I think that's the best potential quarter of the bracket. And then at heavyweight, which you and I were talking, this is pretty wide open bracket. I think Alex Rowland's probably the favorite. Now he defaulted in the regional finals, but if he's not completely healthy, this whole weight
wide open
just gets blown open. I'm not really sure who you're going to see come out of if Rowland's not healthy. If Rowland's healthy,
we think he rolls.
We do. Now, this potential quarter between a 25-1 DJ Spring from Madison versus Alex Rowland, who's 40-1.
Yeah.
That's a fun quarter as far as...
That's a lot of fun right there.
That probably, if Rowland didn't default, wouldn't have happened. Right? We shouldn't probably see that.
Probably looking at a state finals matchup there.
It could be, right? And then, so at the bottom of that, you have Ariel Soto from Bunn. He scored, kind of tried to get momentum going Bunn's way in the duels. I could see him making the semis, or you have Jacob Beeman out of the East, or on the very bottom, the bottom half of this bracket,
wide open.
We could see our man Jarek Stewart.
He's the one that stands out.
Yeah.
For me at the very bottom, Davidson commit. Been working out a lot with Neville's up here at the 828. So I really think that for me, he's the favorite out of the bottom of this. But this bracket, the question is Alex Rowland healthy? Mm-hmm. We don't know what happened. We don't know why he forfeited out of why he didn't wrestle in the semis there, right? Or sorry, in the finals. But if he's healthy, I think it's his bracket. If he's not, it's wide open, doors wide
100%.
open. I think from the bottom, I think Jarek is going to be the favorite to come out of there, but it's just we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those pick'ems.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of those you
it's definitely a wait. If there was a betting line on somebody, I would not bet.
No, definitely. It's just we don't really know where it goes. But, man, I'm excited for 2A.
Yeah, 2A. I think the biggest thing for me I'm excited about 2A is the team race.
Yes, the team race, and I feel like that's just a reoccurring thing. That's just one of the most exciting things about the state tournament is the team race. The big thing I'm excited for about 2A is just how wide open.
Yeah, a lot of weights are undecided.
A lot of the weights, we don't have that guy that is.
Yeah, it's not like
now we do have Jeremiah Price.
Yes,
we do have Ian Moore, right? We do have the guys that are just they're on their own level. I mean, Jeremiah Price is on his own level.
We know what you mean. Him and Caleb,
right. It's just there's a lot of wide open stuff.
A little bit more uncertainty.
Yeah, there's who's going to show up and who's going to take the 2A. Who's going to be the guy? Who's the next one?
Maybe it's one of the people listening right now. Thanks for listening.
Button. All right, you can hit it right down there in the bottom right-hand corner. If you just hover over our logo, you can hit subscribe, or you can go underneath, hit subscribe down near the video description. Also, go check out CarolinaTakedownTalk.com. Also, go check out ChainWrestling.co. Go grab you some Carolina Takedown Talk gear. We really appreciate you guys supporting us that way. We are hyped for 4A.
Yeah,
4A is one of the best ones. It's been a long night. Okay, we've shot all these at the same time, but we are excited. We picked the right one to end it off with because there are some absolute bangers. Let's get it kicked off right here. 106. Let's go.
Well, let's recap the regionals first.
Yeah, man, I got too excited.
You got too fired up.
I'm sorry. I got too excited. I completely forgot about the regionals.
I'll run down what happened.
There we go. Let's go.
Right, 4A East. Laney wins.
Laney rolls.
Yep. Huge. Liam Hickey bonus his way to the title. Big bonus win over Kodo from Laney. Ian Fritz, man, looks ready for the state tournament. He is primed as a freshman, ready to go.
Yeah.
Mark Samuel bringing the bonus point train. Big part of Laney's title picture here. Luke Kuntz over Blevins. Blevins with that big win over Brant Fraserman at the Tiger. Continued to stay undefeated with the big wins over the year.
Yeah.
And Luke Kuntz against the best of them here in the finals. And then Kodo, the bigger Kodo, over Hazley in the finals at 152. At the Mideast, you should talk about this. This is your boys from Jack Britt.
Dude. So, Byron Sigmund says, Justin Travers, 16 seed, comes up to him for the tournament and says, Coach, I'm the worst 16 seed anybody wants to see here. I'm the guy they don't want to see. Mm-hmm. And comes out and proves it.
Yeah, wins.
With a major and 3 pins, goes from 16 seed to number 1.
Regional champ.
Wild. What a run. Wild. I don't know if it's ever been done before.
I don't think it has.
16
I don't
seed
think we've ever seen a 16 seed
to a regional champ.
Win regionals.
Talk about
history.
We always talk about peaking at the right time, right? We always talk about that kids and the programs and coaches need to figure out how to peak at the right time, that February is when it matters, right? Championship season, money season. Talk about it right here. Travers, man, congrats. I'm excited to see if he can continue to carry this momentum into the state tournament, into Greensboro. Awesome job this past weekend. Merchant over Rich Williams from Grays Creek. Big win there. Gunning over Grana. I don't know if a lot of people saw that one come up.
State runner-up versus state runner-up action right there.
That's a really big one. And then to the Midwest, which was one of the toughest regions, if not the toughest.
I think it was the toughest this year.
I think it is. I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Brad Yoakum did the thing, wins over Nagayan, McCord, and
a default win over
Cobble. But, hopefully Cobble's healthy, good to go.
Ready to go for the state tournament.
Cooper Davis over Pendergrass and
Bruciano.
Yeah.
Back-to-back wins there.
Yep.
Huge. Cooper Davis continues to prove that he's probably the person that he's going to try to find himself opposite of Cam Stinson. We'll see when we look at the brackets. Dylan Pepin gets it done over Hunter Jones. Jacob Woodburn over Greg Merriman, one that we were talking about at regionals when we were at the 3A West. We kept waiting and saying, here we go, Woodburn Merriman.
See this one.
This is the one we wanted to see all year. Woodburn Merriman. Woodburn gets it done. And then
another guy talking about getting it done.
Davis Freeze over
Pepin.
Yes, and Pepin's a guy
that lost from the Tiger.
And then he lost again, I think, in state duels. No, not state duels.
I don't think it was state duels.
Somewhere else. Maybe in another duel.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
But Pepin, man, I'm telling you, at state duels, he looked phenomenal. So for Freeze to win that one is very impressive. Lake Norman wins. And they got the studs. They won tough regional. It's tournament time. Well, man, we could talk team racing a little bit, but Lake Norman to me are maybe separating themselves just because of the big points they have coming their way. Northwest Guilford and Cardinal Gibbons nipping at their heels a little bit. Pinecrest nipping at their heels a little bit. And Tesla beating state champ Gavin Hartzell there.
Yep.
And then, speaking of state champs getting beat, Tomas Brooker, man, majored Jack Jarvis.
Majors. Jack Jarvis. Big. One of the most improved kids in the state. One of the kids with the highest ceiling that we have in the state. 100%. We talked about him in the 3A episode when we were talking about Marcus Jackson.
Yeah, those two.
Those two kids both just have ridiculously high ceilings and just improve so much and are I can't wait to see them on the next level, but we get to see them this coming up in Greensboro.
See them Thursday.
Let's head back out here to the west. Mm-hmm. Huff ran the show just like we said they would, right?
Yeah, we knew it.
Huff ran 4A West, rallying over Leighton Beam.
Mm-hmm.
Big one there. And then Baisley keeps it close with Stinson.
Yeah, 2-1. I was a little surprised by
Keeps it close.
Now, we know it's really hard.
Stinson is one of the toughest guys in the state. One of the best guys we have in the state.
Yeah. Second-ranked sophomore, behind Cage Williams. And I'm being honest, it's close. There's a couple times where I thought about switching that this year.
And Baisley keeps it close. And then a local shout-out for us is a program that is rebuilding. Is trying to build something here. But Asheville, third place. Asheville comes in with a third-place finish here in a pretty good region, 4A West. Big shout-out to you guys. But now, I got carried away earlier. But now it's time.
Yes, let's talk
4A 106.
And right up the top, we got my state title pick from the very beginning of the year, Jackson Rowling from Huff. Sits atop of the bracket at 36-1. His only loss coming in the Holy Angels finals to out-of-state kid from Staunton River. And he draws, as the prize for his amazing year in regional title, he gets Kyle Prudham from Northwest Guilford, who is a kid that he wrestled at the Tiger. They wrestled again, I think, at the Holy Angels or somewhere else. And rolling one handily both those times, really. But not the one you want to see on Thursday night, for sure,
No.
if you're rolling. But that's a good one right off the bat. Probably the best first round of the bracket. Brad Yoakum, though, very impressive Midwest regional to get it done. Finds himself on the same side as Rowling. But he looks to be the favorite in his quad. Then at the bottom half of the bracket, you got Tyler Watt from West Forsyth, a freshman that won, or from Wake Forest, that won the 4A East. But he has Leighton Beam in his quad. Really tough one right there.
Out of Olympic, yeah. Tough kid.
Yes. And then on the bottom, you have that man, Noah Caldwell, kind of, if he's healthy, man, we're hoping he's good to go. Kind of looming down there, right?
Yeah.
Kind of looming down there as someone who super tough, been great all year, placed 4th last year at the state tournament. Really, really good. So that's, man, 4A 106 right off the bat. So much fun. But I'll tell you, I texted Rhett, 4A 113 is bananas, right? We have a clear favorite. We all know Cam Stinson, defending state champ, clear favorite.
Right.
But that doesn't mean this bracket isn't just nuts. So right at the top, super stud freshman for Cardinal Gibbons, Liam Hickey. Hickey bonus his way to that regional title. He's pretty heavy favorite in his quad to come on out. There's no reason to think he wouldn't. Hickey only 2 losses so far in the year. Just continues to look impressive. This bottom quad, you have Cooper Davis, who's the person we're kind of looking to challenge Cam Simpson, be the person that might find himself in the finals here. But he also has Joseph Baisley there, who kept it really tight with Cam Simpson this last one. So that's a fun potential quarterfinal right there. And then you come down, and the next one, you have the 16 seed that made it happen. Yep. Justin Travers, Jack Britt.
The underdog.
The underdog.
The underdog right there.
Yeah, and he has got a tough quad right here with Matthew Vendigny from Cleveland versus Eli Pendergrass of Northwest Guilford.
Which might be the best first round matchup of whole thing.
All classifications.
Of anything. Of 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, the whole tournament. That is
a banger.
A banger.
It's so good.
That's a amazing first round matchup.
Yeah, 100%. Vendigny really good, 28-3 on the year, and Pendergrass has just been absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Super sophomore there. And then at the bottom, you have Cam Stinson, but look who he's gonna have in his quarter probably. Oh,
can we talk about this?
That first
can we talk
round
about
matchup?
This first round matchup
Joey
as well?
Brusciano versus
Bruscino versus Cotto.
Oh
my gosh.
Round. That's why I'm telling you. But
like,
4A 113 is bananas.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, to be a weight that has one of those guys that is
the guy.
Yep. It's still
so
my gosh. Like to get onto the podium and to get to the finals, blood round's going to be ridiculous in this way.
It's going to be this first round. This is my favorite first round set of any weight for sure
of the whole tournament.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
100%.
Can't wait for this weight. 120. The semis is where I'm going to be. This is my favorite set of semis that could potentially happen.
Right.
We got Noah Luna, state runner-up from Providence Junior here, against potentially Ian Fritz, super freshman out of Topsail, out of the East.
Now, hold on, though. Fritz is going to have to get through
Noah Murray. Yes, I agree. I think Fritz has proven kind of where he's at.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not an awesome quarter that you're kind of excited for. I mean, you do get excited for it, wrestling the best guys, but meaning like draw-wise. But that potential semifinal between Luna and Fritz is a very fun one. Then on the other side, though, check it out, man. We got Trevor Freeman, who was a state runner-up last year,
Yep.
to Jackson Baglio at 3A 113. Here he is, won the Midwest title in that tough region you were just talking about. He might have Cale Berquist from Heritage, who's a former state placer, in the quarters. And then you have, on the bottom, defending state champ, Matt Rowland. We've talked about a lot on this podcast. He's the man. He's really, really good. And he has a really tough one against Lenzini, though, from D.H. Conley in the quarters. Lenzini, really tough. I think they've wrestled a couple times this year, maybe, or once this year, I think.
Roland,
Roland,
I don't know.
Yeah. Roland looked amazing at Holy Angels, like just
Yes.
kind of pouring it on. He wrestled Freeman in the finals there and kind of poured it on a little bit. So the semis here, though, that we could potentially see between Freeman, Roland, and then on the other side between Luna and Fritz.
Right.
That's a good set of semis.
Yes.
So
really, really good set of semis.
I think those ones
a lot of exciting potential matchups here. But like we've said before,
wrestling got to happen first, right?
Wrestling's got to happen first, and it's a state tournament.
Yep.
All this can be busted up like that.
100%.
Super excited to see it. Let's bump up to 126 here.
Yes. So in the top part, you got Cameron Parker of Andre Kell. He was the West champion. And then you have the bottom part of that quad, Hunter Gundry, who was the runner-up to Roland last year at 113. And then Lucas Daly from Chapel Hill. Lucas Daly really impressed me at the Tiger Classic, but Gundry's a really tough match. I feel like even though not a regional champ, but Gundry is kind of the favorite to make the semis here. And then you got Dylan Pepin down there, winning the Midwest title, looking really good. Jackson Early could...
One of the best sophomores we have in the state right there.
Yeah,
Dylan Pepin.
He's looking good. Jackson Early could challenge him maybe to make that semi. At the bottom, we have Mark Samuel, two-time state champ.
Yep.
Hasn't really had a close match in I don't know how long. It's been a while. So he's kind of the favorite in the bottom half of the bracket. But that quad on the bottom, and you can see a Fogelman-Hunter Jones matchup, that's a good quarter.
That could be a really good one.
That's a good quarter. Yeah. Let's talk about my favorite bracket out of any classification, any weight. 4A 132, we've been talking about since pretty much the Tiger. This bracket is fire.
Yes.
Fire. And it doesn't start round 2, doesn't start in the semis. It starts out
Off the jump. Yep.
Round
let's
1
go.
right away. It's tough right away. So let's look at the top first. With this potential quarter we could see on Friday morning.
Gosh.
Between Luke Kuth and Richard Williams. Richard Williams with that overtime snap.
Russian snap
Russian
himself.
Snap. Bam. So sick. Luke Kuth, takedown highlight machine himself. Oh, man. What a quarter that we could see there.
Yes. But first round matchup.
Yeah.
Right below it, Eli Murray, Frank Bianco.
Woo, buddy. Right.
Oh, my goodness. Like, holy cow. Talk about a fire first round matchup there. I think 4A has the best first round matchups of the whole.
Yeah, I think so.
The whole tournament.
This one is overall, crazy. This one's
insane, right?
A crazy two
insane
sophomores that are at the top of the heap as far as sophomores go, meeting right here first round. Definitely not the 4 seed you were thinking you might see if you were Eli Murray.
No.
But this whole bracket is just bananas. And then so you come down from that. Harrison from Chambers has been really good this year. And then you go to the bottom half of the bracket. Please look at that first round matchup. So we have Riley Merchant, Mideast champ, right? And then you have Ethan Blevins, Will Gibson, round one. That's why this bracket's the best one. Because you have Bianco, Murray, round 1. You have Blevins, Gibson, round 1. And then if you look at the very bottom of the bracket, Colt Campbell, Jaden Harrison, round 1. The round 1 matchups at 4A 132 are just
bananas. Insane
right now. Insane. So Campbell had a pretty comfortable win over Harrison at Holy Angels. A lot has changed since then. What do they get if they win? Probably a matchup with Grant Fraserman, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't get any easier, right? It's wild. And then the Blevins-Gibson one, to me, is just... Whoa.
Yes.
Like that one's going to come down. To me, that one's going to come down to the last second exchange type deal. It's going to be a 1 point fair.
One of the toughest brackets of the entire
This is my favorite bracket. I mean, look at these potential quarters we could have. Blevins Gibson versus Merchant, or Campbell Harrison versus Faserman. At the top, you could see Richard Williams, Luke Kuntz, and then Eli Murray versus Harrison from Chambers. Right?
Or Bianco from Harrison. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, or Bianco with Harrison, right? Like,
man, talk about team race bracket here, though.
Yeah, this is big. Eli Murray's... If Lake Norman wants to win a team title, they
need Murray to punch through.
They're counting on Eli Murray to score the points that they hope he can score, which is finalist championship points, right? Pinecrest is going to need Merchant. If Pinecrest wants to insert themselves in the title
they have to have Merchant.
Merchant's a big clog of that. Hickory Ridge, same thing with Cole Campbell. Laney would really... They don't need Harrison's points probably because they have more bullets in the chamber, but...
Maybe not on the championship side. They don't need his points, but they definitely will need it on the back.
They'll take some points for sure. And then Cardinal Gibbons for sure too. Luke Kuntz.
Yeah.
Luke Kuntz has to do the thing and get some points for them to allow them to insert themselves in that title contention.
Right.
Man, 132. I'm telling you, that's my favorite weight, bar none. That's my favorite weight. Any classification, any weight. 4A 132. If we just had to pick one bracket to watch wrestle,
that's the one.
That's the one for me.
So if you were telling somebody in the stands, if they asked what weight do I follow? What's the one here? 4A 132 is yours.
4A 132.
No question.
No question.
Got it.
Yeah, that's the one. So, man, coming down from that excitement, 138 pretty good too, but it's just 132 is one of those weights this year that's like legendary.
Right.
Legendary. We'll talk about that one for a long time. So 138 at the top. Speaking of Huff with Brant Faserman, you got his teammate Tyler Caldwell there.
The Cowboy himself.
Cowboy, yeah. And he has a potential tough quarter with
Sokolsky from Mooresville.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good fun one there. And they're on the same side as Tyler Tracy, two-time state runner-up Tyler Tracy. He lost to Marcus Jackson 2 years ago in the state finals as a freshman. Last year, he lost in the state finals to James Joplin. So two really top guys, right? So he's looking to kind of punch his ticket to the state finals and win the thing, right? So, but that from Hickory Ridge, Pemberton really impressed us at the regional tournament. Holy Angels as well, but regional tournament. So that's a tough matchup. At the bottom of the bracket, though, you have JT Richards, who made the finals at Holy Angels where Tracy did not. Now, they lost to the same person. But Richards is another person that is key for Lake Norman, right?
Yeah.
Lake Norman in general, all their guys are pretty key to them because they are bringing the big guns. They're more the team that's going to score like all the big top championship points versus they're not going to have a lot of guys fighting on the backside as far they can't have that, right? They need the big points. And then at the bottom part of the bracket, you have Avery Bonacore from Laney. Speaking of team race, right? So Laney, Bonacore is really good. You can see him getting up into the semis there. Landon Nelson from Hoke is going to try to stop that and help out Lake Norman in the title race. Good little bracket right there.
Right. It's just tough to follow 132.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing, is this year 132 is premier.
It's on fire.
It's amazing. But let's bump up the 145 here.
Yeah, man, 145. So at the top, Jason Saunders from Huff won the West. And his prize, Patrick LaCoves from Lake Norman.
Yeah.
Right? LaCoves, he's a kid, man, we've seen him at, I'm pretty sure we saw him at 132 this year. We've seen him at 138. And here he is at 145. Probably because of Eli Murray and JT Richards are down those weights. LaCoves moves up weights and wins, right? Wins and makes the state tournament. Impressive. If he could pull out a win here, it'd be massive for Lake Norman.
Right.
So that's a big first-round matchup in general. But LaCoves in that top quad is pretty big.
Yeah, but looming in his side of the bracket is the guy. I mean, I think he's the guy on this side of the bracket here is Jacob Woodburn, coming off a huge win over Merriman.
Yes.
At regionals, man, Woodburn's turning it on.
Yeah,
He is turning it on. Seems to be healthy and ready to scrap.
I think we both were at the beginning of the year talking about him. We really want to see him get it done after kind of being banged up last year. Just good kid.
Yeah.
Works hard. Been phenomenal his entire career. Right. One of those kids that was a victim of the wrestleback situation last year, but he's also not 100%. So, but runner-up in third. Runner-up as a freshman, third as a sophomore, state qualifier last year. We'll see what happens going forward this year at 145. So at the bottom half, though, a Noah Thomas, Colin Queen potential rematch from the state duels is a fun one to look at.
Yes.
That was a tough match, so that quarter could be fun. And then you got looming at the bottom, kind of like you alluded to with Jacob Warburn, you got Greg Merriman.
Yeah.
So I think Merriman, Thomas, Colin Queen, those are kind of the favorites for the bottom half.
Yeah, and they are just absolute monsters down there, all going to scrap it out. Battle it out down at the bottom to see who's going to come up into the finals. I think that one is going to come down to, I think we're looking at I really do think that Woodburn punches through from the top, but that first round matchup of Sanders and LaCoves, talk about the worst 4 seed, I think, that you'd want to draw.
I think it's been a theme, really, this year.
There's been a lot of
4 seeds that's like, wow, we could see them making the semis.
Yes, yeah, and it's one of those things, as the 1 seed, you go, all right, that's not who I had in mind to kick off this tournament with.
Yeah.
I got to come out ready to scrap, and it's just is what it is. But up to 152 we go.
And speaking of team race implications here, right at the top, Brody Neal, Tristan Cutto, Laney Lake Norman. We could see a really big swing of points, just setting them up. Now, their potential quarters opponent is CJ Griffin, who we saw at the grapple look really good. So he's really tough from Hope County.
Right.
So that's a good little quad between the 3 of them. And then also Crawford Harris from Mallard Creek is tough too. So that's a good little quad. At the bottom part of that, man of the hour, really, in this bracket,
Davis Freeze
had the big win over Pepin. Sets himself up pretty nicely here on the side, away from Buck and Hazley as well. So,
but at the bottom, Jackson Buck.
Yep.
Another one of those sophomores that are just solid.
Yeah, sophomore class is really good.
Really good. He's looking at a matchup with probably Logan Hazley there in the quarters. But then Drew Pepin down there at the very bottom. I think he's going to be the one that punches out down there. And that Kodo, the semis here, the potential semis to me.
Between Buck.
Yeah, between
Pepin.
Kodo and Freeze possibly, and then Buck and Pepin.
It's pretty fun.
Those are some good semis right there. That's what state championship semis should look like.
Yes.
That's how brackets should fall right there. That's going to be a lot of fun. I
really like this first round matchup between Colin Bailey of Davie versus Logan Hazley, Corinth Holders.
That's another fire
first round
matchup, which is just the theme of 4A, is that it's kicking off huge.
Yeah, I agree. It's wild. So 160, I think we publicly apologize here to Eli Brown. I remember at the beginning of the year, I think it was one of us publicly said we thought he could do well in place, but not sure if he could.
He's dominated.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he would be able to string 3 or 4 together to win in the bracket that occurred. And he has looked amazing this year.
And set himself up very good.
Yeah, and he's got a great path.
Yes.
He's undefeated on the year, dominated his way through the year. Man,
a kid that's been wrestling really solid.
He's gonna be
just
tough
stays in. He's another one of those guys that he stays in his position, right? He kind of reminds me of Clark from Newton Conover, right? He stays in his positions. He doesn't let people scramble a lot. He doesn't let people get into positions that they want to. He controls the pace. He controls the match. And Russell's fundamentally sound. Nothing too flashy.
Yeah.
Has a really nice like fireman's carry dump that he does that is slick, but really tough on top, well-rounded.
Yeah.
Gets out on bottom really well, moves really well on bottom.
He's going to be really tough to beat this again, to be quite honest.
He is, but he's in a bracket full of
Good
killers.
bracket. Yeah.
He really is.
The bottom part here with, Brown's potential quarter against Benningfield from Northern Guilford
is big, and his potential semi against Harshbarger from Laney.
Or Harshberger from Laney versus Bentley from Hickory Ridge is
that's another
good quarter.
Solid one. But at the bottom, and I'm going to butcher your name, bud, and I am sorry because you have put together one heck of a season, has been popping up everywhere, and that is Michael Quanez, maybe? I'm not sure. Let us know at the state tournament. He's looked great all year, but him and Jaden Dobeck are on a collision course right there for the semis. That's going to be an awesome semifinal match. I don't really see anyone else on this side of the bracket that is going to disrupt that, in my opinion. I think it will be Michael and Jaden there in the semis.
Yeah.
And
Dobeck's been wrestling so good all year long.
He has. And so I'm excited to see either one of them match up against. I am pulling for Elijah Brown. I want to see him in the finals.
Yeah.
He's another kid. He was at that Mike. He came to that Mike Mock camp.
Yep.
He's always working. He's a kid in every camp that we've seen him at. Anytime we've ever seen him, right? We saw him at the Baynard Foundation camp that we went to back with Kerry Miller and Daniel Owenby, Tristan Norris. Those guys in there. He was in there scrapping and is always constantly trying to find the toughest kid in the room that he can work with. He doesn't run from competition. He doesn't run from working hard. He's always grinding. And you can see it in his matches. Yeah. He grinds paces. Tough kid.
I mean, I'll tell you, though.
One of the most slept-on kids in the state.
I think Jaden Dobeck, I don't know.
Fits the bill with all of that as well.
Yeah. But I just think, he's just been on fire all year long.
He has.
Really.
He has.
The Tiger and the Holy Angels bracket that he won, they were both so good.
Oh, yeah.
So good. So it's hard to pick against him. But... As you said, I can't pronounce his name either. Quinos?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. He's had a heck of a year, too, so we'll see what happens. 170's got some really good matchups, right away. So 170, you have Com at the top out of the West from Asheville. What part of that program that we were talking about? Just third at the West. That's pretty awesome. Brunson from Jack Britt is a really hard challenger, and Gardner, Asserti from Gardner, hard challenger for that in that quad too. But look at the potential quarter on the bottom part of the top.
Now Grana's got a big one with Sam Davis from Cardinal Gibbons.
Yep.
Right off the bat, but the quarter of this weight right here is Tomas Brooker from Hickory Ridge and Sam Grana from Cary. Both juniors, both monsters.
Yes, so good. Both juniors, both monsters. State runner-up versus Tomas Brooker, who,
has been on fire.
Ever
since his off season. He came onto the scene, burst onto it, and has not left.
Yes. So, and then at the bottom part, we also have another good quarter potentially between Brady Rabb of Mooresville versus Alex Hopper of Laney. I think Hopper's a little bit on a different tier. But
I think these are some of the best quarters in
100%. These quarters are going to be so much fun. And then on the bottom part of the bracket, you have a state runner-up in Alex Gunning versus potentially a state champion, Jack Jarvis, in the quarters there. So So in this bracket, you have Thomas Brooker, who on fire, maybe the most on fire guy around.
Right.
You have Alex Hopper, been around the block, placed fifth as a freshman, didn't have the state tournament he was hoping for last year, but he looked really good at state duels. Then you also have two state runner-ups in Granner and Gunner, and a defending state champion, Jack Jarvis. So this is a bracket and a half.
Yes.
This is a good bracket.
Yes.
So 182 at the top. We next topicked him last year, Devin Bell, and it didn't go his way in the finals, but this guy is a man amongst boys right now.
I will dare to say again this year, Devin Bell. Next topic.
Man, he looks
the way he's
so
been wrestling
good
this year. Campbell commit, Campbell signee, heading to Campbell, heading up there to be with Coach Sintez in that program. Yep. The leader of Laney, right? Just the top requires extra, right? I think that's been Laney's saying this year is the podium requires extra, right? He's been putting in the extra, and it's been showing off, or it's been showing.
Yes.
He's been dominating people.
He has been dominating people.
And I think that he's going to continue to do so in this weight. But there are some really good kids at this weight, right? Like,
this weight's
on his same side of the bracket.
So he's a state runner-up, and then on his side of the bracket, you really look at Hunter Tesla, who's Testa, who is a state runner-up, or not? He's a champion out of the Midwest, but he's just a sophomore, and done really well for himself. Really pushed Tomas Brooker early in the year. Looks great the state tournament last year.
Right.
So he's probably the challenger out of this side of the bracket for Bell.
Yeah.
But at the bottom, you have state runner-up
Robert Hyder from Pinecrest.
Right. So you have him, and then you also have Michael Pepe from Huff, who won the West regional title, undefeated on the year. Kind of finally found his way back to the lineup after football, and I think a little bit of an injury bug, right?
Right, I'm not sure, but he came back with a vengeance. But talk about another fire quarter right here, and that's going to be Gavin Hartzell. Woo!
Yes.
And Michael Pepe.
Yes, Gavin Hartzell defending state champ. So you have state champ and 2 state runner-ups in this bracket.
Yeah.
They all kind of are separated from themselves, could find themselves meeting in the semis type deal. Devin Bell, though, looking...
He's in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah.
This is his bracket. I think it's his bracket to lose at this point, right? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't want to.
There's, I mean, he's been up at 95 a lot this year and beating a lot of top 95 pounders. So
I think it's his.
And
I think it's his bracket to take.
He was very impressive. So stepping up to 195, where we have another defending state champion this weight. We also have a guy who's beat a bunch of state champs. Well, we talked about a lot in the summer on our podcast before the state tournament last year. Was Aiden Maher from West Forsyth. He's going to have Jesse Barrier from McDowell as a potential quarter between those two. I think that's a really good quarter, probably under radar that a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to because it doesn't have the big names. But Maher, we know, is really good. And then defending state champ from Corinth Holders, Caleb Beatty, won last year as a sophomore. At 195, very impressive.
Yeah. Awesome quarters matchup potentially here with Quintez Shipman out of Lumberton.
Mm-hmm. And that
hammer.
Quintez Shipman versus Abu.
Denoris Abu.
Yeah, from Northwest Guilford. Abu was very impressive in his state duels match for Northwest Guilford too. So that's a fun first round, probably the best first round one.
This bracket,
and in a couple weights, really. At the bottom, you have Sam Cower from Cox Mill, who his only losses on the year, one of them's to Devin Bell, so he's been really impressive. Kamari Cook from Mallard Creek as a sophomore at this weight is a really good quarterfinal matchup there. And at the bottom from Pine Forest, you have Jacob Green that could probably push into that semi there.
Yeah.
Definitely the bottom half, other than Cower, probably is a little more wide open than the top half with Beatty on it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who kind of punches through, who prevails out of the bottom. The top has our big names. The top has, Maher. It has Beatty. It has Shipman. It has Abu.
Yeah. Well, come correct me, man.
Yeah, please. Anyone, if we've messed up your name, please come let us know. But, the bottom is wide open, I think.
Yes, I would agree. Getting into the big fellas here at 220.
And some big names.
Yes. So at the top, we have Jamari Anderson out of the West with the West regional title. Kind of looks to be in the driver's seat in his quad. But then in that bottom quad of the top half of the bracket is returning state champion Sakari Morrison, right?
Yes.
Returning because he won 2 years ago, state runner-up last year at this weight.
Yep.
Man, he's good. He's gonna be good. But
I think this is the top side of the bracket is his.
He's got a tough from Overhill's Hunter Berryhill. Is a tough potential quarter. Now, Sakari, we know who Sakari is, the things he's done, Super 32 All-American, but don't sleep on that quarter being a tight one. And then at the bottom half of the bracket, Tristan Richardson from Laney, who's really well for a guy his size. And then Bryce Gadsden from Cox Mill is a potential quarter to circle in all the brackets. Don't sleep on that one. And then you got Nathan Carnes, who was third last year. Him and Sakari had a tight one at the Midwest Regionals.
That's one of the best quarters possibly that we have is this Vincent Nolfo and Nathan Carnes.
It could be a good one.
That could be a fire.
This bracket's really good with Barry Hill and Richardson and Carnes and Gadsden, Nolfo, Sakari Morrison.
Right.
Is this a good 220 bracket?
No, it is.
It's great. So,
but let's wrap this up. Let's go
headies.
to the big boys. The final bracket of the tournament of our state tournament preview here. Let's check this out.
So right off the top, we have Alberto Hernandez from Rollsville. Won the East title, but he has a Ray Watson out of Mooresville.
Probably one of the worst 4 seeds again that we've said again.
I feel like
we've said
a bunch of 4 seeds that could.
I think there's going to be a bunch of busted up brackets from first round upsets. If we look at the bracket here, Ray Watson just always dangerous, and again. Like I've said time and time again, this episode, or, this year, this tournament, is when you look at the bracket and you looked at the 4 seeds, that's not the one you wanted.
Nope,
right?
Definitely not.
Watson is not the one you wanted.
And then Carson Floyd sits, and, a potential bracket buster in that, too, is Chase Godwin from Pinecrest.
Yes.
So. And then the bottom there.
The biggest weight jump of the year, the biggest
Carson Floyd.
The biggest change. And maybe one of the biggest things that affects the team race. The points that him and Sakari bring to Lake Norman up top, potentially. The points that Carson Floyd is going to bring, he is the leader of this Lake Norman team, of this charge to get to a state championship. And just dominates, right?
Yeah.
Absolute monster. I think one of the best, I think one of the best kids that we have in the state.
Agreed.
And he's up at 285. And I think it's his bracket with, I think there's one guy looming here. Floyd's got a big first round matchup here with Pollock.
But
from
look who his potential
Laney.
quarter could be. Don't forget.
Yes, Amari Daniels from
What did
Jack
Amari Daniels do? He beat Levi Andrews and Sakari Morrison.
Sakari. Yep, so, you're right. You are right. He is the guy that, he can make big things happen. Big move potential there. But right underneath him in the bracket from Cary. Now, Cary's historic for heavyweights, right?
Yep.
Some of the best ones in history. Rylan Van.
Yeah, Rylan Van, defending state champ, was a runner-up as a sophomore. He's committed to NC State to play football.
Yep.
But look who his quarter could be. McCallop
out of Southeast Guilford.
Yes.
Jed Cox and the boys down there, they want the smoke.
This match occurred at this Pin Autism Duels, and McCallop came out on top in overtime. So, really...
This is your old school heavyweight matchup.
I don't know, old school.
You don't think so?
No. They both move way too well.
But I think it's going to be your 1-0 match. I think it's going to be your 2-1 match.
It'll be tight.
Is what I mean. I don't mean, maybe not like stylistically.
Yeah,
but I think that...
Like points-wise.
Points-wise, score-wise.
I can see that. Like a 3.
I think that they match up so well. I think that these two match up so well that if you're watching it from like a beginner standpoint or, just a fan in this, that only comes to the state tournament, whatever, you watch this match, it's going to be really tight. And I think that they could be so evenly matched and stylistically very similar that it's going to be tough for either one of them to get into offense.
Here's the
it's going to
thing.
be a lot of pummeling,
They
a lot of
both
hand
move
fighting.
their feet so well for someone their size.
Right.
And they're not used to wrestling probably people that can move their feet like that. So
Right.
it's going to be
And
tight
so I think
and
it's
hard
going
to score.
I think that's going to slow down the match.
Yes.
I think that them both being able to move their feet so well and both being able to move so well, that's going to counteract, and I think it's going to be a slow-moving match. If that could be completely wrong.
I think they're just going to have a hard time scoring each other for sure. So in the bottom half of the bracket, you have Maynard. He's the West champ. And then you also have David Elridge from West Forsyth, who actually beat McAlp. So definitely someone to keep your eye on to try to come through the semis there. Definitely a wild weight, that Carson
I think it's
Floyd's
controlled
points.
by one man.
Yeah.
Carson Floyd. But there's potential. There's potential in this weight. I think it is who's going to challenge Carson.
I still want to see a Carson Floyd versus Rylan Van or McAlp match. If it doesn't happen here, let's just set it up for after the tournament. The mat's already down. Let's just
roll and let it go. And so, but that wraps up 4A. That wraps up 1A, 2A, 3A. Our state preview is done. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe. Make sure you don't miss any of the content we're going to bring out this week and for the state tournament, at the state tournament.
See you, Greensboro.